I'm interested about the legal implications of having autopilot in the Model S's,
Sure.
right? What happens, Elon, if the car does in fact crash? Who is going to be responsible when that car is on autopilot?
Yeah, so I think it's important for us to differentiate autonomous driving versus autopilot. Autopilot is what they have in airplanes. For example, we use the same term that they use in airplanes, where there's still an expectation that there will be a pilot. So if the onus is on the pilot to make sure that the autopilot is doing the right thing. We're not yet at the stage where you can go to sleep and wake up at your destination. If we would have called it autonomous instead of autopilot if that was the case.
Right.
But what we are doing is making it a lot easier and more comfortable to drive the car, and incorporating a lot of active safety features so that the car will stay in its lane, will automatically brake, will maintain a distance to other cars, will avoid like highway barriers and other obstacles.
But that doesn't still address the question, though, Elon, which is, let's say it's on autopilot, so it's not autonomous. But if it's on autopilot and a driver says, hey, you know, this was supposed to change lanes for me, and instead it hit this barrier, I want Tesla to be responsible for this.
Yeah, I think we're going to be quite clear with customers that the responsibility remains with the driver.
Okay.
We're not asserting that the car is capable of driving in the absence of driver oversight. That will be the case at some point in the future, like maybe 5 or 6 years from now. I think we'll be able to achieve true autonomous driving, where you could literally get in the car, go to sleep, and wake up at your destination. But in order to do that, you have to have fully redundant systems. Everything's got to be redundant so that any one system breaking does not result in an accident. Mm-hmm. And you also have to prove that out over millions of miles of driving. And then, of course, then we have to prove that to the regulators to convince them that it's safe. And so I think from the point at which true autonomous driving is possible, which I now think is probably in the 5 or 6 year time frame.
You said that before, though,
yeah,
5 to 6 years, yeah.
A couple of years ago, I thought it was more like 10 years, but based on the rate of improvement that I'm seeing and the progress we're making, I think we'll probably be able to do it in 5 or 6 years. And then, but it's probably still going to take 2 or 3 years after that before the regulators approve it, because they'll want to make sure that it's truly a lot safer than driving with a person. And the standard for fully autonomous driving is going to be much greater than for a person.
Right.
Because if it's just equivalent, that wouldn't be enough.
There's no change at all in the battery, right? There's no change at all in what you're doing with in how you're okay. But is there going to be a change at all in the driving range given some of these improvements?
Yeah. So the way we're doing dual motor, it actually enables a range increase because we're able to balance the efficiency of the motors a lot more. So if you just have one motor, it's always on a particular power versus efficiency curve. But if you've got 2 motors, you can optimize between them and actually have the motors operate in their more efficient regime more of the time. And the net result is that we're able to get 10 miles more highway range just by going to dual motors, whereas in every other all-wheel drive system, you lose range. For this one, you gain it.